Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. We've told you about them for many years now. You cannot beat this locally owned, family-owned business. Now, I know the folks. They are good people. I'm happy to have them on the show. You know, they've been doing this for more than 50 years now, since 1971. Everything from termite prevention to bed bug eradication to mosquito treatments, which I did this past year and was thrilled with it. If you need a pest control company, folks, call mine. Southeast Termite and Pest Control, southeasttermite.com to learn more. Okay, back with Bob Hodge, Ryan Callahan, Jimmy Himes, Chuck Cavaleris. We have a playoff, but the semifinals are typically horrible. We have more than 40 bowl games, but teams and players opt out of them. Kudos to LSU, by the way, for playing with 39 scholarship guys the other day. You had some teams that said, well, we're too done, we can't play.
Like A&M.
LSU went and got, yes, like A&M. LSU went and got slaughtered and did it with a small team, but bravo. The bowl games get good ratings, but they're nowhere near as good a ratings as regular season college football games. And by the way, the Big Six games all were better than ESPN's regular season games. Only one other bowl game had TV ratings as good as a regular season game, the Music City Bowl. Mm-hmm. When you play a 4.5-hour game that goes to 85, 84 in overtime, you get numbers. But each side can cite facts to say the postseason's great or the postseason sucks. I ask you guys, and we'll start with Chuck and work it back this way. Does the college football postseason need fixing, or is it fine as is?
Well, that's the how many million dollar question. I mean, and it's ESPN properties, right? I mean, that's what we're talking about.
It's programming. Really it's ESPN programming, basically.
That's what you're talking about. I think you have too many bowl games. I think if about a third of them went away, I don't know anybody would lose any sleep.
You get 1 million viewers for every one of them.
Yeah, so I mean, I can see, especially with what some of the other conferences are saying, adding some kind of something to the playoff. I think you still end up, whatever you do, I think it's going to help the SEC by the time you're said and done. But yeah, I think you can tweak something just a little, but you can lose at least a third of these bowl games that I don't think anybody misses.
ESPN would argue. See, that's where they got the numbers that people are watching them. Now, what they never mention is, well, I got 1 million viewers. Yeah, but a typical college football game gets 4 million viewers. But still, million beats one of their NBA regular season games, so okay. Yeah. But Jimmy, college postseason, what do you do to fix it? Or does it need fixing? You just leave it as is?
I'm with Chuck. I think there are too many bowl games. I'm not really excited about 5 and 7 or 6 and 6 teams getting in them. I grew up when a bowl game was a reward for a good season. Now it's a reward if you can go 6 and 6. Now I also have the option to not watch it if I don't want to. Right. I would cut down on the bowls to try to make at least you earn your way into them. That would be the one thing. Chuck kind of touched on this. I don't care what you do to the college football playoff, you're not going to hurt the SEC. If you add more teams in it, then more SEC teams are going to get in it. If you keep it at 4, then you could very well have an all-SEC national championship. So I don't think you can do anything in the playoffs to hurt the SEC.
Ryan, what would you do with college football? Anything or leave it as is?
Depends on what you want to get out. What are we trying to fix here? The number of teams that are playing meaningless games or how the championship is decided? I don't see a better system than what they have in place. I don't think a 12-team playoff fixes anything. All that does to me is diminish the bowls even further because whatever bowls are left after a 12-team playoff are even less meaningful to anybody. At least now you've got New Year's 6 games that are pretty significant outside of the playoff. So those kind of go away if you go to a 12-team playoff. So I don't think that fixes anything. I think the bowls are mostly fine, like Jimmy and Chuck have said. It's watered down, but some of those 5 and 7 and 6 and 6 teams are more excited to be there than the 8 and 4 teams in some cases. So I don't have a huge problem with that. Unless we want to just ditch the bowl system entirely and go to a 32-team playoff like the FCS. I don't know if there's a better system out there that gets this many teams interested and engaged in this many games that at least people are willing to watch.
Bob.
He just said what I was going to say. I'd go to a 32-team
it's
playoff.
It'd be the biggest thing in college sports history.
And here's the deal. That would translate into 16 bowls, which is still a lot of bowls compared to where they were back when I was a kid. So I'd go to 16 bowl games. Hey, and it makes them meaningful.
But your champion would play 85 games, and you already had the
any more than 62.
The ACC teams were complaining already. You had players saying we don't want to play 15, 16, 17 games in a season this past off season. So I don't know, but you would expand to a 32
Yeah,
team.
and then that's it.
See, I don't like
That's
the idea. One thing I like about college football is you pretty much have an idea your best team's going to win it. One of the great things about the NCAA tournament is, ooh, a Cinderella. I don't want a Cinderella in college football. I don't want some team that went 8-4, getting into a playoff, getting hot at the right moment, and then you have to say, oh yeah, they were much better than the undefeated Alabama team that had one bad day in the semifinals.
Right.
So that's. But if it were me, expand the playoffs because that's what everybody wants. Make it go to 12 teams. It's still going to water it down, but go to 12. Get rid of the bowl tie-ins. Leave the bowls. Just make it a bowl draft. I've said this before. You can go anywhere.
Which-
Teams can go to any
And
location.
I still like that idea.
You can
a
play
lot.
anybody, and
Yeah.
you turn it into a made-for-television event like Selection Sunday for basketball. These bowls, based on how much they hand out to teams, that's who they pick. So under the playoffs, Tennessee could go to El Paso, Tennessee could go to Las Vegas, Tennessee could go to Honolulu, Tennessee could go to New York, but it's not every year. We gonna get Nashville or Jacksonville? Well, I hope we get Jacksonville. Oh, it's Nashville. Which big team we gonna play? Hate it. It's just criminal.
But you have a better case to expand the playoff if some of these semifinal games had been just reasonably close. Those have been so lopsided.
Oh, they're awful.
You know, maybe if you add more time, I'm thinking at least 8 teams. 5 Power 5 conferences. You look at I don't even know how you do the automatic thing, but it generates more excitement nationally to me.
I think you're gonna.
64 teams.
That's how you fix college football. Forget the postseason discussion. 10 regular
But you
season
have
games.
2 play-in games
And they all
to
play.
get
yes.
into the 64 team.
The regular
field.
season is just
10
one big playoff.
10 regular season games, get rid of these
you
FCS
go.
games everybody's playing, and then a 5-round playoff.
I'm good with that.
I'm good
These
with
teams
that.
aren't going to give up their SEC
No, exactly.
championship
Yeah.
and their ACC championship game because
Sure.
it's money.
Yep. So,
Let
how
that
do you
be-
fix it within those confines? I'm not sure you can.
Yeah. It's good for debate. All right, when we come back, Ryan, I want you to tell folks about who Tennessee landed yesterday, big wide receiver get, and then we'll also talk recruiting, and we got much more to come. Come on back on the Sports Source. Bob, good luck to your Vikings today.
Thank you very much. They need it.